welcome to a fun-filled episode of Fangirlz Assemble. Finally, after months and months, we are all three of us together. And yes. How are you all doing today?
I'm good. I'm ready. I like this new format.
Yeah.
Like now everyone can see our faces at all times.
So now we can't do anything embarrassing. Yeah, it's weird. Right. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm on camera.
I can't make any funny faces anymore. I've got to be attentive.
Yeah.
You got to be attentive. So the thing is, someone actually checked for me, is my video clear? Because when I've been on this new format, my video has been terrible. Is it clearer now?
It looks good right now.
Yeah.
But you look small to me, like we were talking about. Everybody's small now.
I like it. I feel very slimmed, like a
I like it.
Person.
It's a good angle for me.
Oh, you guys. But we also look like those, CNN bubbleheads or whatever. So we are,
I dig it.
For some things.
Well, hey, Carly in the chat. She's loving the new format. Thanks, Carly.
Thank you. It's been so long that we three of us have been here that we actually decided to add a fourth person.
That's right. You know what? I think the best way to add this fourth person is to ask him where he buys his comic books.
Ooh, tell us. First of all, who are you?
I'm Reid.
What's your last name?
Hi Carly, I see you in the chat. I'm Reid, Chancellor, and I'm hi. That's
hi.
You're not hi. Don't say that.
No.
You're straight edge.
Edge life.
We're a terrible host. Over here. Reid Chancellor is also Mr. Kristan Robertson. And
that's what I call him.
True.
Yeah. And he's actually in the same house as Kristan. I don't know why they're in separate rooms.
We're fighting.
Yeah, supposedly they're fighting. So
we're having a big fight right now.
Fighting about it.
Different room. But Reid is also the writer of, and this is where I have to bounce.
Oh, I had mine ready.
Oh, where is it? Oh, there you go. Is this awesome new book of hardcore anxiety, which, Reid, do you want to tell us what this book is about?
Sure.
What about where he gets his comics?
Yeah, we gotta do our
what about that?
That's true. Reid,
I tried really hard, guys.
First of all, Reid, where'd you get your comics?
Don't make me do that. That's bad. That's scary.
Okay, all right,
don't make me do it.
Website, that's all.
I'll sing the song, but that's it.
Okay, sing the song for us then.
Oh no, not first. No, it's at the end.
Oh. Okay. InStockTrades.com. Okay. That's where we love to get our collected editions. They sponsor us. They're amazing. They have amazing packaging. Reid and I often fight about whether or not I should place an order on InStockTrades.com. And the answer is always yes, because they have amazing deals.
That's true, Kristan. I heard that you can get deals on books up to 42% off, depending on the publisher. And if you spend $50, you get free shipping.
It's amazing. US? And amazing shipping. Because I don't know about you guys. If I ever don't order on InStockTrades.com, my packages arrive so damaged, and I feel so bad. And then I'm like, what was I doing with my decisions in my life? Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. That's why you should always go to InStockTrades.com. And speaking of InStockTrades.com and deals, we actually have a very a cool deal for you all this week that will begin on this Tuesday at 2:59 or 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And go until the following Tuesday at 2:59 Eastern Standard Time. Do you remember?
Do I remember? Is that what you're saying? As you were saying this, I was like, we do? Which book did we pick?
It's a mystery pick from Fangirlz Assemble, everybody. Take your bets. Figure out what it is. We'll all see together on Tuesday. I guarantee it's a great pick. We only pick the best picks. But what will it be? I don't know.
I have 2 books in mind, and I don't want to say one, because what if it's not that? And then everybody will get really sad, and I'll be like, oops.
Whenever it gets to be Tuesday, you're like, man, that's a really good pick at 50% off.
Yeah.
It's us. Whatever it is.
Bree looks ready. Eldenver in the chat, I have to say, he's saying everyone in the bottom look up and everyone at the top look down. Like we are the Brady Bunch.
I can't.
Oh, that's not this one.
Hi, Maddie. How are you doing?
Hey!
Hey, Reid.
Oh, I looked up.
Our pick of the week is...
Oh, yeah, bottom feeders. Bottom feeders.
Is that what it is? Oh
Yeah.
God,
Girl.
all this time I was trying to be like BTTMFDRS.
Not Peters. It's the guy, what's his name? Ezra Clayton Daniels, who wrote Upgrade Soul, which hurts my heart to this day, and we have to read it. So we're really excited. It's going to be 50% off. Check it out. Apparently, we're so excited we forgot. It's true.
Yeah. So it's from I don't know what this is. Fantagraphic book. It looks awesome. It looks awesome because last time when we did the book, people are like, "Oh, guys just did a book without knowing what's it's about." So I'm like, this time around, we're gonna fix that. You know, I still didn't read it, guys. But this looks awesome, and it's by Ezra Clayton Daniels, as Kristan mentioned. We loved his Upgrade Soul book. So this book would be at 45% off, not for a 1 week. And this looks so good. This is just awesome looking book. I
like the cute shape.
Yeah, it's like, so compared to like an oversized hardcover, this is kind of like I don't know, half its size, maybe. Half its size.
I like it.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, it's awesome, and I don't know what this is about. Something about bottom feeders, but anyway, this is what it is: BTTMFDRS. But anyway, yeah, this will be like 45% off. All right.
So everyone get it.
Yeah,
it's gonna be good. Someone is asking for Jesse Say What wants the punk rock version of the song.
I can't do that. I don't know if there's a punk.
Well, what were you gonna sing?
I was listening to the InStockTrades.com.
Oh yeah.
That thing.
Like Kermit.
That's my specialty, is to sing like Kermit the Frog.
That's good. So your other specialty is also writing awesome comic books, and this is your debut comic book or graphic novel called Hardcore Anxiety. Reid, tell us what this is about.
Well, yeah, it's a graphic memoir about my experiences in punk rock and mental health, kind of paired with like little stories and like kind of biographies, like miniature biographies about certain bands that have really kind of advanced mental health sort of awareness within the genre, and then kind of just my reaction to that, as well as really sort of becoming aware of my own mental health issues that I had along the way, as well as like finding punk and sort of all that just like spun all together.
Right. So I just read it this just before the show, and this is fantastic. I just have to say that, especially the fact that this was just so brutally honest, and I felt like I was just talking to you, Reid, over just face to face. Like, it felt like you were just sitting in front of me and telling me the story.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad.
And especially also Kristan's portrayal. Because Kristan's in this book, guys. Kristan's in a comic book. And Kristan's portrayal is that every time I hear Kristan say something, I'm like, that is a very Kristan thing to say. She actually said those things to me at one point or another. And I'm like, are we?
Probably not all those things.
A lot of those things you've said.
Some of the things.
Yeah. A lot of those things. Maybe like not a lot of I love yous, but
I'm sorry. I should say it more.
You should say it more. You should say it more. But the Kristan's portrayal in it is just like on point. I'm like, that is Kristan. I know this girl. This was just like, I have to say, like, this was very awesome. So those of us who are not necessarily into music a lot, which is probably population one, what is punk music? Like, what is punk rock?
It's a really so that's a super loaded question in a lot of ways, just because I think a lot of people associate punk music with like a certain time period and almost like a rebellion of all sorts of music, or all sorts of like forced music upon. There's a cat here now. This is gonna happen a lot. But I don't know. I would kind of look at it as talking about the things that most people don't want to talk about is sort of kind of a punk way. And I mean, kind of like how I opened the book, there's a big part in the book where it's like, punk has nothing to do with music, doesn't have anything to do with, with England or with the Sex Pistols or with the Ramones or whatever. Punk is just, it's in your head. It's a mindset. It's taking care of yourself. It's everything. That's a really kind of cheesy, stupid answer to what punk is, but it's everything. I think that would be my simplest, weirdest answer.
I had a perfect answer. It's a hard thing to describe. It's not that easy.
Yeah, you could say that punk. It's a lot of yelling, because there's a lot of screaming and a lot of anger.
I think when you start screaming, it's different. We fight about this all the time.
We do fight about this a lot. Kristan doesn't like screaming music,
I hate screaming.
And I think screaming music is the best music. But that aside, yeah, punk is everything.
So what are you screaming about when you're screaming?
Everything. You're screaming about all of it. That's Keith Morris, who founded, was one of the first members of Black Flag. He's in the book. He founded the Circle Jerks and bands like Off and Buffy's Eating the Computer. He said it's like, we're angry at everything. We're angry at our parents, our jobs, the government. We didn't like anything. And that's what hardcore music was born out of, was just a way to unleash all of the emotions that they had at the time.
Right. So modern day, who are like considered to be like punk music, is that still active now, or it's?
Oh yeah. I think punk music, it's a lot looser of definition, because you can get into this giant argument that if you're in a punk band and you make money, you're not a punk band. Because I think
that's hard too, because like punk has become less of a genre and more of a mindset. I guess it kind of always was, right?
Yeah.
But, I grew up like having these fights with people too about Green Day specifically, who's one of my all-time favorites. But they make money now. They make a lot of money. So people are like, oh, the moment you started making money, you're no longer punk. And I think that's nonsense. But you can fights about it on the street with anybody who will disagree with that.
And it's the same thing. Like, I would say, Green Day is a big punk band that's happening now. Against Me is a punk band that's still happening now. There's a bunch of them. But I also think that like punk, it lives less in a musical genre now, rather more in like an attitude and an approach to how music is made, how it's distributed, how it is, the culture around it. Basically everything anything and everything can be punk. I remember I heard somebody say that like the two greatest punk acts are The Clash and Public Enemy, which are two very different musical acts, but I think they're probably really accurate with that.
Spot on, I'd say. So, Reid, a question we always ask our guests is for them to tell us their origin story with comics in particular.
Okay.
But what is your comic book origin story? Not just of like you getting into comics, but like what made you think, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it. Sure.
Well, I started reading comics kind of off and on, like when I was younger. I didn't read that much though. I don't know, something about, I just didn't really get a handle of it. I think I had a few like single issues and floppies and stuff like that. But one time I was away at a rock and roll band camp, because that's how I lived my life.
Like Camp Rock?
It was very much like Camp Rock, except it was called Camp Jam. And the Jonas Brothers were not there.
Sad.
It just had day. Jeff Carlisi was there. If anybody knows who Jeff Carlisi is, raise your hand. No. No. Okay.
No.
He was in the band.
Cool. You gotta understand, Reid.
Jeff Carlisi a little more, but I don't know who that is.
No, also, he was in 38 Special.
Iron Cardinal in the chat, $2.99 super chat. Thank you very much. He said format gains, sup Reid. So thank you, Iron Cardinal.
Bro. Anyway, I was at Camp Jam, and I had a backpack that had Invader Zim on it. And there was a kid there, and he was talking to me, and he was like, "Oh, have you read Johnny the Homicidal Maniac?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And I had no idea what that was. I didn't know Joni Vasquez made comics, and so I went down that rabbit hole. And probably the first comic book or trade that I ever bought was Squee in his book of Unbelievable Horrors, and I probably read that about 30 times. And so I read that, and then I read Bone, and that was really it. I stopped reading comics probably for a very long time. And my sister went off to art school, and so she did the comic thing. She was wanted to be a sequential artist and went to school for it. And so I was like, well, I'll kind of do music. And so I did music. And so I kind of stayed out of comics for a really, really long time. And then I met Kristan, and she was like, hey, I read comics a lot. And I was like, that's neat. I've read too. So she was like, you should probably read more than that. And I was like, I don't know if that's for me. I don't really care. And she put some weird comics that I had never heard of. I think the first book you made me read was Blankets.
I think so.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And that was a huge eye opener because I didn't know that nonfiction could be in comics, or that people who drew comics didn't have to draw textbook Marvel DC style. Because other than Jonah Vasquez, I was just everyone who draws comics draws crazy, detailed, realistic stuff that I don't really do. And so that kind of opened it up. And until then, I was just drawing pictures for band flyers and album covers and stuff. And Kristan said, you should probably draw a comic sometime. And I was like, I don't think I can do that. And then she kept telling me that I should do that over and over and over again. I think I drew a 4-page comic, and I was like, maybe this is good. And then eventually it was I think maybe I can do this. And so I started doing it, and that's really it. And that's the first, that's kind of when I started working on Hardcore Anxiety. It was about 3 years ago. So that book took a pretty long time.
I forgot to mention, though, that our wonderful logo that we have, the Fangirlz Assemble, is designed by Reid.
Oh, wait, I'm trying to point to Reid. I'm like, how do I...
This guy.
I'm over here.
Shit! This guy.
My hand's off. I can't.
Yeah, it's there. If you see that thing, where I'm just sitting there with Captain America's abs, and then I'm going, ooh.
That's right.
Yeah, and then
it's so accurate.
It's 3 chicks, literal 3 chicks there. Yes, that was absolutely done by Reid. And the fact that he just only saw one episode of us, and then we told Reid we need a logo. And then Reid's like, I got this.
It was a very that I learned everything I needed to learn about everybody in that first episode.
Yeah, I was like, Fariha, Captain America's abs, you got it. Maddie, Wonder Woman, got it.
Yep.
Kristan with her cool shade, cool glasses and all that, and just reading a book and just being what am I doing here? That's us, and that was done by Reid. So yeah, thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. I'm glad. I was happy to do that. Fun.
When we're gonna become a multi-billion-dollar logo, we're gonna pay you some money.
That's great.
You'll get royalties then.
Royalty.
That Iron Cardinal $2.99 is gonna go toward it.
That's right. Sorry to completely cut you off.
No, I think that's it. My comic origin story begins at Camp Jam and ends with drawing chicken versions of the 3 of you and Captain America's abs. and that's how I got to where I am today.
That is this, of all the people we have had, you had the best origin story. I can tell you that.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Especially because it involved 3 of us.
I was going to say, I think that's
the only reason. Yeah.
just selfish reasons.
Right. So my hard-hitting question would be, this whole comic discussion, did it came in before you said to Kristan that you love Creed, or was it after?
That was after.
Well after, yeah.
That was after, yeah.
I think I brought up Creed on our very first meeting in person.
Yeah. Our first date, yeah.
Yeah. The 2 things we mentioned was that I like Creed, she likes One Direction, and I also happen to play in a band where I wear a luchador mask and play in my underwear. And
that's true. Which I still am
that was our first
judging
date.
You for, but it's fine.
That's fine. That doesn't happen anymore. That's
true.
Right. Yeah. Right. That doesn't happen anymore. Sure.
It's true. I don't even have the luchador mask.
I mean, you kids these days just kind of. No, I'm trying to find that page on this book because you kind of portrayed. That's how I knew about this whole kid.
Oh yeah, where is that?
and One Direction business. Then I immediately started to judge you two.
He outed me for everyone in this book.
That's true. I should have asked you if that was okay, but
you didn't.
I didn't.
So yeah,
I have the records. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, here's the page where. So here's the page.
I know you know why.
Yeah.
And then the next page it actually becomes worse. I'm kind of surprised that you two are in the same house, because next page you outed Kristan as knowing all the lyrics of Aaron Carter's song.
That's true. I mean,
she should be incredibly proud of that.
When Eric Carter first got huge, when he was a young child, I was also a young child, and I was obsessed with him. And I met him once, and he was so high. So I didn't know that at the time. I was like, he acted weird. But now that guy was high.
Oh yeah, he's long gone.
So did he at least give you a hug though, Kristan? Because people really don't want to hug you.
That's rude.
Don't bring that up to her.
You know what? I'll tell you everyone who's hugged me. Eric Carter kind of draped himself over me because he was so high. He's like, I can't hold my body up. So that doesn't really count.
I didn't know he did that. That's weird.
It's weird, right?
You didn't mention that in the original. You didn't mention that on our first
in the original book. I didn't. I know.
And then it would have been in the book.
You're gonna have to
I would have put that in there.
Hey, speaking of, Freddie said the underwear was not mentioned. He needs an extended version or a sequel now. Reid, I'll wait 3 years. So you have to work on that. Talk about your underwear.
I'll start working on it.
No, Eliza Dushku hugged me. That counts.
It's true.
James Marsters has hugged me. I like him more than David. Thank you. Okay. So people hugged me.
So it's only David Boreanaz,
yeah. The other one. Yeah, Christian Kane, in that same meeting, that same con, Christian Kane hugged me a million times, and he was lovely. So he made up for it.
Okay, all right. Yeah,
for the record.
So going back to that. Anyway, I'm done with my hard-hitting question. I will come back, but I just wanted to know at what point in the date this happened. These are very important to me. This was very important.
It was pretty early on. Yeah, it was like a confession of sorts.
It really was. And I think, and we don't have to talk about this forever, but it's worth mentioning because Creed is fantastic. And I think part of shut up, Kristan, you're laughing already.
I like Creed.
Creed rules.
I'm gonna out myself right here.
Anybody who says that Creed doesn't rule is living in a fantasy world because everybody else says you shouldn't like it. For real, you don't have an opinion. You don't like music.
You guys, I don't know where it happened that that I don't like music.
You said it a million times.
I said I had a fast relationship with fast and loose relationship with music. It's just I never had a band that I followed or anything, So it's just I think Linkin Park or Westlife was the only one that no one heard about. I just listened to their song, but it never been oh my god, this people are live. People talk about music or the way you talk about music in your book, Hardcore Anxiety. I never felt that way. That's what I meant by that.
No, and I get that.
You don't get it.
But
thank you, Reid.
I understand because I think the one thing you said is you said you didn't love the Beatles, and Kristan gives me shit all the time because I don't love the Beatles. I would probably. Controversial right here. I'd probably.
Why would you do this? Your one appearance. Why would you do this?
I'd rather listen to Creed than the Beatles.
Kristan,
you're excluding.
I'll take you to Liverpool. Let's go.
Okay, sweet. Yes.
I'm not hating.
Bottom row only. Let's go.
Anyway, like I said, we don't have to keep talking about that. All of my book sales gone now.
No, I mean the thing is it's just Beatles are fine. They're fine. I just don't understand why is everyone screaming about them. I just don't understand that. Everyone, shh. Let me listen to the music. I can't.
In the Beatles. So, literally.
What did you say?
My cousin literally got her master's in the Beatles.
That's fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Serious.
I wish I could get a master's on Captain America. That would be just awesome.
We got to clear the record, Philip Evans. The bottom row, I believe Maddie likes the Beatles. That's what we've established. So the bottom row likes the Beatles. The top row doesn't care for the Beatles. So Philip Evans, you can keep watching. You can like half of us. It's fine.
Freddie's okay. He's with the top. He's with the top row.
Yeah. Okay.
On the Beatles. That's great.
I mean, it just they're fine. They're fine. Like
that's pretty much what Reid says. He doesn't hate the Beatles. He's like, they're fine.
Now here, I love their solo work individually way better. I think George Harrison is fantastic on his own. I think Paul McCartney is fantastic on his own. I think Ringo is fantastic on his own. I don't love John Lennon because I think he needs a haircut, but the rest are great.
So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, growing up, I mean, first of all, I can't tell white men apart, so that's just on me. But, I could not tell those 4 people apart. They all look the same with their bowl haircuts and all that. And people are just screaming around them the whole time. I don't know, you guys. But imagine the song that I liked, like John Lennon. So I really like that song. But anyway, enough about me. Back to you.
Okay.
Sorry. So you talked about like a lot of like mental illness issues in the book as well.
Yeah.
Complete 180, more like somber affair. So it does seems like like I said, like from someone who is like doesn't really follow a band or a music scene that well, it always feels like that there is this idea that most musicians, even the great musicians, have some kind of like mental illness issue, but it never gets talked about unless it's after the fact. Like if, let's say, like Chester Bennington when he passed away, or I'm forgetting his name from Soundgarden.
Chris Cornell.
Yeah, Chris Cornell.
Like, when he passed away, like people talk about it after the fact, but not necessarily while they were out. Do you think that that's kind of changing now, or there has been some discussion started to happen, or?
I think the discussion is definitely getting bigger and definitely more talked about. But I would almost say that, like, I think in like an artistic world, or how whatever art you create, music, actual paintings or anything, so much of that it's a hard thing to fight, that like it's almost celebrated sort of to have like something like, or to have your troubles, your worries, and you put that into your song. They always said it's like, oh well, they made their best work when they were going through the biggest thing. Beethoven made his greatest work when he was completely deaf, and it's stuff like that. And I think that translates throughout history completely. But I will say that I think now people are talking about it in their music. It's definitely in their songs. If you look at Soundgarden's music, you look at Linkin Park's music, you look at any of them, you look at Nirvana, you look at all of these bands that notoriously have deep mental health roots and talking about it. They talk so much about it in their music, but outside of music, you never hear anything about it.
Right.
And so that's why, like, I mean, my biggest thing that I close with in the book is talking about how it's like punk rock gave me all of this awareness, all of this. It opened the door for me to know more about mental health and to know about other people having these issues and kind of have that sense of community. But then within that community, nobody said, hey, it's okay to go get help. It's okay to see a therapist. I mean, there's not a Black Flag song about sitting in therapy. I'm sure that Henry Rollins has done plenty of therapy, but there's that's not on My War. That's not on Damage. That's not on these albums that really, to so many people in hardcore and punk, is like that's their guideline. That's their Bible. That's what they live by. And so much of punk music and hardcore is really centered upon that do-it-yourself lifestyle and that mantra. And you can't always do it yourself. And I think that's the conversation that needs to be shifted to that. We need to be talking more about getting help. And I think people are doing that. You can hear it on podcasts. And if you listen to talk radio or anything, when people get interviewed, they're a lot more open with it because the stigma is slowly declining, which is fantastic. But I think anything and everything we can do to make that stigma disappeared, that would be the best thing to happen.
Which is so great that you're talking about it and you're putting in your book, because it's something we talk about all the time on the show. Mm-hmm. Because, when mental illness is shown in comic books, the majority of the time, it's done very poorly. Now, there's, a few instances like, Jeremy Whitley wrote Unstoppable Wasp, and like, you know, Nadia has bipolar and she takes medicine, which is great. And then you have other writers, Tom King, who you know, write characters with mental illness, and he writes. I mean, they can write really realistically, but then there's no positive way to take care of themselves. It's always dealing with it in a very negative way, whether it be physically abusive or emotionally abusive to other people or themselves, right? And so that's what we see in comic books, like, oh, this is a great show of mental illness. Like, okay, cool, but then what?
Yeah, what is it? It's that you have to ask yourself, like, it's great that we have the representation in the comic. So it's fantastic that we have a character that's going through something and dealing with, so people can look at it and say, okay, I'm going through something similar. I'm not alone. But if they see that person just lose their shit all the time, then they're thinking, well, that's how you deal with it. And it's like, everyone is different. That's not how you have to deal with it. You can get help. It's okay to go to therapy. It's okay if you have to take medication, if you have to see a therapist on a regular basis, if you need to do meditation every day to get through it. I mean, there's ways to deal with it, and I don't think people talk about the ways to deal with it other than a lot of harmful ways to deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Right. It just seems like there's always the representation of the disease itself or illness itself, but never the recovery process or getting help part of it. And especially one thing I really loved in your book is like you not only you showed about going to therapy, you actually showed going to 2 different therapists. So the first one didn't work out, and then you went and sought another one, which you kind of jived with more. And something that I don't think I've ever seen in comics.
Well, yeah, and that was something that I really wanted to do. And I mean, I worked pretty great with the Joe Beal and Ellie Blue, who are the 2 main people over at Microcosm Publishing who puts out the book. We worked a lot. They helped edit the book, and we worked a lot about talking about approaching everything as realistic as possible, and wanting to create a book that's not really out there. Something that there's books about music, there's books about punk rock, there's books about mental health, but sometimes they're lacking something. And so with the therapy, I mean, I wanted to show that therapy doesn't always work the first time for people. Or I had my own weird shit that I was going through to where I couldn't, I didn't want to tell my therapist everything because I was worried that she was going to think I was crazy or that I was stupid or that I was, I don't know, whatever. I didn't want to be as honest with her. Right. And that kind of ruined therapy for me. I got nothing out of it because I put nothing into it. And I don't think that's talked about a lot because a lot of people are like, therapy's not for me. I don't want to sit there and pay somebody to just tell me, what do you think? And it's like, you have to it's work. It is work. It's hard to do. You have to work at it. And Kristan tells me all the time that it's like, if you don't put anything into your therapy and getting better, then you're not going to get better. And I'm incredibly appreciative for her that way because she's always done that, and she pushed me to go to therapy quite a bit. And I think that I tried to make that as clear in the book because I didn't want to go at all, ever. And it was kind of like, I think you need to go. And I was like, nah, I'm fine. She's like, no, I think you need to go.
Yeah, he's shortening that a bit. Now that's something really important too, though, because so often you'll be dealing, I wasn't dealing with the stuff he was, but it was affecting me and it was affecting us. And so often, you can't make anyone do something they don't want. So I can suggest, hey, you should do something a million times, which I did. But it takes that person getting to that point. So I think that's a really good thing to show, too, that you just don't, again, I can't think of another book that showed that either. And the therapist thing is really important because a lot of people don't get that. They think they go once and they're supposed to be magically cured, which that's not how it works. And then they also think they have to keep going back to the same person. And that just isn't true. And I think Reid, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you felt that way at first, too. But you realized, oh yeah, I could just try someone else and maybe they'll work better for me. And that is how it works. You have to find the right person, the right formula, the right everything that works for you. And that is really hard. And I think that's something that people don't talk about. So even people who've tried therapy, they're like, it's not for me. It's like you didn't try hard enough. So
yeah, exactly. And it's just, I think everything really goes back to whatever you put into therapy is what you'll get out. And yeah, it's not the first try is not going to be great. You're not going to go once and be like, well, that was perfect. I'm done. I don't have any other issues. All my anger problems or all my anxiety or depression's gone. It doesn't happen that way. It doesn't wave a magic wand. It's something you work at, and eventually it gets better. And if it's not getting better, then sometimes you have to not be afraid to be like, hey, I don't think this is working out. Do you have anybody else you can recommend? Or just saying bye, which is kind of what I did. I just called my therapy office and said, I don't think I want to go here anymore. And they were like, that's cool. And they handed me over my files, and I went off to find another one.
So how was this finding process? Like, I don't know if it's getting into too nitty-gritty of things, but I mean, how did you how did you realize that this is not working out for me?
Well, and it was a little bit of a mix. I felt like we were doing in therapy, I was doing a lot of the same thing. And also, like I mentioned, I wasn't putting that much effort into it because at that time I thought it was a magic wand. I thought I could go and just talk about, I'm sad, and her be like, well, think this way, and be like, I'm not sad anymore. Great. I thought it would be that easy, and it's not. And it was hard. I mean, I was not wanting to go. We started taking medication, and it was okay, but I didn't feel like I was getting, I wasn't putting that much into it. And at the time that I decided to switch therapists, it was kind of like, I think I just need to start over. I just wanted to start fresh. And where we were living at the time, I was living in Evansville, which is where most of the book is set in. There's not that many places that I could find. So it's kind of like there's one and then there's the other. And so I was just like, I'm going to go to the other and see what happens. And then luckily it just ended up being a really good fit. The therapist that I talk about in the book, she's fantastic and she's crazy in like the best ways. And that's been really good. And it is, it's, she's read the book. So I feel okay saying all the things that I said in the book and showing off her mug that displays wonderful things. I
want that mug now. Where do I find that
it's
mug?
Real.
I have no idea where. The best part is that she told me that someone, I think her boss gave it to her, and they got a complaint, and so she can't use the mug anymore.
What did she tell you it stood for, though? Wasn't it a university or something?
Yeah, her University of North Texas, because the C is in the handle.
Yeah, so if that tells you guys without saying the word.
Yeah, you can put that together. If not, you can buy the book at microcosmpublishing.com and you can read for yourself.
Ooh, I'll put the link in the chat. Hold on.
There you go. Way to go.
Yes, please.
I knew I married you for a reason.
That's right.
I was going to get that link and put it in the description later on. But yeah, I mean, I like that. I like that mug. I'm like, I want this mug. That was my takeaway from this whole book.
I mean, honestly, if you can take away anything, that mug, pretty sweet mug.
So you also talk about a thing about not kind of getting like a good feeling out of music at one point, that you were not enjoying it. So was it because you were just done with the music part itself, or do you think it was your conditions that was making it that way?
I think it was really a combination of a lot of stuff. So like I said, I started playing in bands probably in the 6th grade or so. I think that's when I started playing drums. And so that's all I had. That's all I knew. That was like the first thing I was really good at. That's the first thing that I kind of found an identity in. And as I got older, realizing that dream may not really happen, or like whatever that dream could be. I mean, I was kind of chasing it for wrong reasons. I was like, I want to do music. I want to be famous. I want to be able to do this for a living and all sorts of stuff. And then, you play enough venues to 10 people staring at you, not really caring. Or you play enough shows where everybody goes outside for a smoke break during your set. And then you also play shows that are like incredibly magical and like the greatest feeling you've ever had. But those become fewer and fewer, and I was basically just spreading myself so thin. And Kristan says it once in the book, but she said it probably about 80 times to me in real life, that she thinks I can do anything, but I can't do everything. And I was trying to do everything all the time. And so it's like, what things can I take out of my life? And to end the band that I was in for 8 years seemed like it made the most sense, especially at the time. My best friend was about to have a baby, and he was in the band, and he was like freaking out about that. So he wanted to take some time. Our bass player was also married and thinking about having kids. And it was kind of just like, I think we need to just call it before we're, in our 30s, still playing to 15 people in a bar in Indiana. And I don't know, music, it's such a hard thing because, like, I really did feel like that was my identity. And that's why, like, it's funny that when that ended, it's like 4 months later is when I went to my first therapy appointment. And when she was like, yeah, you got depression. And I was like, yeah, okay, neat, that's it. But, and then later, talking with my best friend and all that, he's like, you've always had depression. He's like, you've always had this issue. You're just not distracted anymore. You're able to focus on it. You're able to get help and work on it, which is really true. And I don't even know if I answered your question. I don't even remember what your question was. So yeah, there we go. What was it?
So Reid.
Yes.
Your book's out. It's finally here. What's next for you? Are you thinking about writing something else, or are you thinking about, do you need to start touring cons? Like, what does this look like for you? Because this is, it's not like you've gone through one of the biggest publishers or anything. Like, what's your journey next with this?
Well, I don't think I probably won't be doing any cons for a while. I've just got this one book. I just actually finished this week my second book that will also be out on Microcosm, but I can't really talk about it because it hasn't been announced yet.
Can I say, though, for any, like, can I say the pitch that I would pitch it? I won't tell it what it is.
Yeah, that's fine.
if you're a murderino, like we all are now.
Done.
We are.
You're going to like it. Right? Wouldn't you say?
I mean, it's not.
It's not murder.
There's not murder, but it's connected. I thought you were just going to say what you wanted my book title to be, which was Yikes.
Oh, yeah, it was. Yikes.
Hang on.
Can I tease the most basic elements, or can I not even do that?
No, hang on.
I don't know. I don't really know.
I'll text you.
Is this a nonfiction or is it?
Yeah, it'll be a nonfiction.
That's
book.
What I was going to ask. Can I say that?
Yeah, it'll be a nonfiction book. And
can
like I said,
about someone.
I don't think so. I'm going to hold that. I'm going to hold that back. I'm going to withhold that. I'm going to hold the card.
No, you don't have to say who, but I just said that part, so that's fine, I guess, right?
Oh yeah, it's about a person.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to call it Yikes.
A person who's getting murdered.
No one gets murdered.
No. Just if you're a murderino, like if you're a true crime fan, I feel like you would like a book like this.
Okay.
Because it's crazy.
Yeah. That's all. Like, it's weird, it's crazy, and it's true. But so I just finished that. I wrote my first fiction book over the past year that I started drawing, that I'd like to put out sometime, but we'll see. So I don't really know.
Kickstart it.
What?
You'll probably kickstart it.
Yeah, I will probably kickstart that hopefully next year, as it gets going. Philip Evans in the chat. That's yes, you nailed it. That's what my book's about.
He said, "Is it about Fariha kidnapped Kristan?"
He got me. Here it is.
Hey Reid, can I put the link to Birdie in the chat?
If you want.
I do. If anyone wants to hear some of Reid's music, he put out this EP that's really great. So if you guys want to, it's in the chat.
I will say the EP is not punk.
No, but it's great.
Not punk musically, but punk ideology and thinking wise, yes. There we go.
It's really acoustic-y.
Yeah, I'm playing it with an acoustic guitar, and yeah.
I also put you in some kind of NDA, so you cannot write weird shit like, kidnap.
No, that's a fanfic you've already written, girl.
That's what I'm saying. Those
I follow you on fanfiction.net.
Like, those were done in confidence, you guys. Like, I was telling you there's over PMs, and then I can't believe you're making money.
I know your username, Chris Evans Stalker 109. I don't know why 108 to 1
it's
was
101,
taken.
Bitches. Sorry. But okay, so we're still looking forward to it. Any idea when the news might come out, or?
I think my deadline for everything to be done is November. So I'm gonna probably beat that, which is good. And I'm sure I'll have to edit a lot. And doing nonfiction that's not autobiographical is a lot of work because there's a lot of research, way more than I probably thought I would have to do. I don't know why I thought it would be easy. I thought I would just know everything, and that's not what happened. So yeah, there'll probably be a lot of fact checking to do. There's a lot of other stuff like that. I think the rough idea is for it to be announced at the beginning of next year, which would be cool. But then that's also when I'm going to try to kickstart my fiction book. I don't know. I don't want to say. I'm going to say all this stuff, and then who knows if I'll ever actually finish it, or if it'll just sit in my laptop for years with poorly drawn stick figures as my placeholders.
Regardless, when it does come out, we're gonna be there to.
Well, sweet.
Yeah. So, what was it? I had another question, but anyway, someone else asked something. It'll come back. it'll come back to me.
I want Reid to talk about his favorite books.
Oh yes,
favorite comic books.
Yeah.
Favorite book? Okay, all right now?
Favorite comic books
of all time, or what I'm reading?
Do both.
Do both. Yeah.
Okay, that's hard. You guys made this hard.
Okay, gun to your head right now.
What popped in there? I know it's not Wrestle by Jeff Smith.
You hate Wrestle so much.
I do.
For no reason.
He made me read Wrestle by Jeff Smith years ago, and oh my gosh, I read it during an overnight shift, and I was falling asleep. There's so much Tesla history book. I don't think either of you have read this, right?
No.
Don't read it. It's not worth your time.
No.
It's fine. If you like Tesla, it's
we
fine.
don't.
Nikolai Tesla.
Tesla. Not the car.
Oh.
It's not about Teslas. But I think of all time, probably Bone is my favorite. I think hands down. I don't know if you can beat. That's just fantastic cartooning. I love Contract with God by Will Eisner. I think that's probably, that's like the birth of the graphic novel, and that kind of storytelling, which is fantastic. I love Blankets. That's really good. And that was just that's probably got more sentimental value to me, just because that's when I realized, like, oh, books are cool and you can make comics about different stuff. Right now, I just finished reading Murder Falcon, and that's the best book I've read all year and probably longer, because Murder Falcon's unbelievable.
Who is it by?
Daniel Warren Johnson did the art and and wrote it, and then Mike Spicer's doing all the color.
It's an image book.
It's an image book. Yeah, it's an image book. The trade just came out. It's on Hoopla, so get at it. But
we love Hoopla around here.
Oh, I know. I'm married to a Hoopla fiend.
That's
right. I know all about it. I know all about Hoopla.
You're drowning in Hoopla.
Yes, I don't. It's not a week goes by I don't get asked, how should I spend my Hoopla credits? And I respond with,
he's my Hoopla advisor.
Know.
I'm like, what should I get? And he's like, I don't know.
Yeah. I'm like, you have an entire library full of books that you haven't read yet.
But I gotta have my checkouts. Fariha, I gotta have my checkouts.
Bitch, please. You're telling my girl not to get her checkouts? Like, no.
No, use them. Go for it. It's your life.
Oh, is that a Willow?
That's a Willow.
Nice.
Hi, Willow.
I missed this in the chat, but I gotta mention it. Philip Evans said, I just keep hearing Kristan's listen for listen to what I'm saying and bring me that what I want voice. When she said, Reid, you should write more comic stuff. That's funny. Because on this show, that's what I do. I'm like, hey, bring me that thing.
Good one. So what are you reading right now that's like, jiving with you? What are you reading on Hoopla?
I actually just started. Kristan's going to get mad because I didn't tell her that I started this, just because she's always mad when I don't tell her I started reading something. I started reading Gunning for the Hits, which is another Image book. I just know it was about music, and I read like the first 3 pages and realized I was not supposed to read that at work. And that was
like
a mistake.
My Black Sad moment.
Yeah, it was real weird.
What moment? Your what moment?
My Black Sad moment. Remember I told you I checked that out on Hoopla, and I started to read at work, and I was like, yikes. Like 2 pages in, I was like, I can't do it.
All right. Anyway, then?
So I started reading that, and that's it. I really haven't. Kristan will tell you, I'm really bad at reading stuff, which is really sad.
You've been reading the new IDW Turtles, though.
Yeah, for like 2 years.
Yeah, but it counts.
But that's really great. If you want something to read that'll keep you like invested for a long time, and you like Ninja Turtles, it's a really good kind of reset for it. We've got all the stuff to go back and reread all the the Mirage stuff, which would be neat, but the IDW run is really great, so you should all read that.
Right. And then one book that I was thinking about when I was reading is Phonogram by Kieran Gillen.
I've seen that at like half prices and stuff, but we've never bought it.
Yeah, we stared at it sometimes, but
it has a lot of music in it too, so I'm like, yay.
Try that out.
I will have to try that out.
Michael in the chat is saying,
here's the thing, it's like people are just being edgy, like for the sake of being edgy. I'm like,
yeah,
that's annoying.
Like Veronica Mars.
Oh my gosh, Maddie,
I'm rewatching it right now. Okay, I haven't started yet. Okay, so I'm watching it with my fiance because I was like, listen, you have to watch the new season with me, so we need to watch all of it from the beginning.
You're going back, okay?
I can't tell if he likes it yet or not. I think it could be a slow burn for some people, but I'm hoping.
That's fair. I made Reid watch it back in the day, which I think Fariha made a joke about Gilmore Girls in the posting in the group for this. Which Reid, you said you were waiting on someone to comment on your Gilmore Girls obsession.
Yeah.
So she did it.
I felt like that's the best part of my book, honestly, is all the Gilmore Girls Easter eggs that I hid in there, and not one person's brought it up.
Well, no, I already did, because that's one of the things that I was like, I need to ask him something about it. Thank you for reminding me.
You're welcome.
That's what was that, I never seen Gilmore Girls, but I'm like, oh, that's kind of neat.
Oh, Fariha, you've got to watch Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, what do you
do together?
It's so good.
Come on.
We gotta know what team you're on.
Yeah,
Team Jess.
Team Jess all the way. Yes. I mean, come on.
Yes.
Actually, I will stand by my weird obsession. Team Gil. I mean,
what?
Everyone just got real quiet.
Because we were trying to know what you're talking about.
Gil's the best character in the whole series. Kristan, do you remember who Gil is?
No.
Sebastian Bach.
Oh, yeah, Gil.
Gil. The old guy who runs the sandwich shop, who joins the band, and he's old.
He was the singer of the band. What's your face's band?
You guys are all.
I
thought you guys were fans.
No, these two are fans.
We were out of it. Well, it's funny. The Reid has the Gilmore Girls obsession because I made him watch all of Gilmore Girls back then. I'm like, take all my DVDs.
I lived in my apartment that was smelly and small, and I didn't have internet, and I only had an antenna and a DVD player and a VCR.
Wait, hang on. You survived?
Yeah, it was really great. It was probably it was
also above an insurance company.
Yeah, below me was an insurance office with a lady named Laura who was a bitch. And my drug dealer. It was awesome. But all I did was watch Gilmore Girls, and Captain Ron, because I had that VHS tape, but I bet no one's seen Captain Ron, so that's fun. Captain Ron's a great film.
I think I made you watch Will and Grace too, didn't I?
Oh yeah, Will and Grace was in there.
Those are all the DVDs I had. I'm like, take all my DVDs.
And Veronica, I think Veronica Mars.
Yeah, Veronica Mars. Yeah.
Yeah, I did watch Will and Grace.
And then I rewatch every season of King of the Hill probably like twice a year.
I'd say more than that.
It's probably.
And Hey Arnold. Yeah.
And Hey Arnold and News Radio.
Right, but Gilmore Girls kind of stuck with you enough to actually made it into the book.
Well, I think that was like
that was the time period, right?
Well, yeah, that was the time period, and I think it's funny because it's like that's not what you would expect a person dealing with anxiety, depression, and bipolar disorder and self-harm and going through all of this. And I was like, it's just like a really harsh like reality. That's like I'm dealing with that, and then it's like when it's over, it's like, well, I'm gonna sit here and watch Rory and Lorelai talk really fast for like hours and hours, and that's what I'm gonna fall asleep to.
I think it's a comfortable show. I think when you're going through stuff, like things like that are just oddly comforting.
Well, yeah, and you need that to hold on to. So it's kind of like, I mean, I spent that whole time being like, are Luke and Lorelai never going to get together? And is this just going to end? And am I going to be pissed off more? And we would just like talk to each other and be like, why is Roy so stupid? Yeah.
So stupid.
What's with Logan?
Dumb. And that was it gave me a much needed distraction, especially at that time. So I think I owe quite a bit to Gilmore Girls.
I think like when I was going through like a funk like that after my bachelor's degree and I couldn't find a job, I kind of threw myself at Sopranos and Breaking Bad. Those are both bad decisions.
Oh yeah, girl.
Yeah.
I just watched You've Got Mail.
Those are really bad decisions because it kind of tells you ideas. It gives you ideas. It's like, maybe I should start a drug empire. I'm a chemical engineer. I can do this shit.
You could. It's not a bad idea.
Right.
I mean, It might be. It's at this point, it's probably responsible, like fiscally responsible. At least financially, you're like taking matters into your own hands.
Oh, absolutely.
Exactly.
I got to point out Carly in the chat. She said she loves Captain Ron. So there you go, Reid.
It's awesome.
And Michael's asking if you've watched home movies.
I haven't ever watched it, but you were not the first person to ask me if I've seen it or like suggest that I watch it.
You should definitely go watch it now, whatever this home movies is.
Oh, that's good.
So before, I think we're nearing our time. We're trying to but before we go, this weekend there was like a lot of news that came out of future of MCU and also comic book reprints and those kind of thing. What's the general opinion, guys?
Okay. Can I talk about what I'm most excited about?
Yes.
Is it what I'm most excited about?
Number 1, Jane Foster Thor.
Yeah.
Number 2, Pie. We already knew that. She's like, I'm looking for a queen. Nice. Number 3, the cast for Shang-Chi is great.
Mm-hmm.
Awkwafina, and then the guy from Kim's Convenience. That's something I know him from. Kristan. Watch Kim's Convenience on Netflix.
I need to. Yeah.
And
I've been dreaming about that guy as Namor, but hey man, because now that they don't have Captain America anymore, I need my share of sex pot, and I thought that guy would be Namor, but it's okay. They'll announce Namor to be someone else. Anyway, that's fine. But anyway, what else?
Oh, Monica Rambeau.
Huh?
I forgot. Monica Rambeau is going to be in Scarlet Vision?
WandaVision,
whatever.
Right. She's going to be in that.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be fun.
Older version, right? Older Monica?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Kristan, what are you most excited about?
I'm most excited about Natalie Portman is coming back, and everyone's bad about it, and I'm so happy about it. And I'm forever happy about it.
I lost my damn mind. I kept getting excited looking at my phone. I'm like, it's Jane Foster Thor. And Ellie's like, what? I can't. She held the hammer, and she's so excited.
Yeah. Yeah, people were making jokes like, "Oh, they saw how much money Marvel movies can make." And she doesn't need money, guys.
Yeah, she could literally
to be a
she made Box Lux.
Yeah, which was the worst. Reid and I watched that, and guys.
And here's the thing: if you want to make money, who gives a shit? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, like that's why everyone's doing the job. Anyway, that just makes me mad because I love her so much. And
who gives a shit? She they threw money at her. She came back. Okay, fine. Throw money at me. I'll go anywhere. Well,
that's right.
But with some conditions. I'm not gonna be in one of those stupid DC movies. But anyway.
I have to mention that Natalie Portman. I mean, if it weren't for her, I don't know that Reid and I would be together.
That's true.
Ooh, tell us that's
your favorite story to tell, Reid.
Is it?
Yeah, because it's so stupid.
It's really dumb. It's great.
It's bad.
Tell us.
It was it's probably early in our relationship, or was
I think so. No, it's pretty early.
We were looking through her computer to find something really stupid. It was like super old, and you wanted to show me some.
I got on my old hard drive, and I was like, I think it's a picture. Maybe it's a picture of me and Aaron Carter. I don't know, but I was digging.
That would
it could have been it. I was like digging through old folders,
and she found a folder that said Natalie Portman, and I was like, I wonder. Like everything went through my head of why there was a folder named Natalie Portman on her desktop or on her hard drive. I was like, it's either going to be nudie pictures of Natalie Portman.
No,
It wasn't, which was promising but disappointing.
So what was it?
Nothing.
That's the best part.
Nothing in the
I was like, I'll open it up, and I opened it up.
It had nothing in it.
Hang on.
She had an empty folder named Natalie Portman on her computer.
Wait. Hang on. So there was no, were you getting prepared for, a fan fiction situation?
I thought that maybe. I don't know. I didn't know what I expected there to be. But there was nothing in there.
What I think happened is I used to, especially when I was younger, I would collect pictures of my favorite celebrities, right?
Right. We all did that.
Yeah, so you had your pictures folder, and then you had all your celebrity folders.
Right.
And I think it was among those, and I guess I just never acquired any Natalie Portman
you didn't get any
for it. I don't know.
Well, that Natalie Portman have now going to be Thor, you guys. At least now, one thing I can say that anytime, because here's the thing, one thing I was going to say, all this news came out, and there was a very predictable reaction from people, kind of reaction often. And then one of the things I can say though now is anytime it's Thor is a man, I'm like, read a comic book, you dumb motherfuckers. That's what I can say now. Just throw comic book at them. It's here you go. Here's a comic book where Jane Foster is Thor. Shut up. That is just so awesome. Anyway, I'm really excited about the Loki Disney show. I don't know what that is about, but I'm excited for it.
It all looks good.
Yeah. And then also Doctor Strange and Wanda. I don't know what that is about either. Doctor Strange in the multiverse, and then Wanda's going to be in it. I don't know what that is about.
We'll see.
I'm excited for that too.
It'll be good.
Hey guys, sorry, I've got to jump off.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, bye.
Okay, thank you, Reid.
Bye. Have a good night.
Sorry. Reid, what are you excited about?
Oh, I have no idea.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm excited for Jane Foster Thor, and I love Natalie Portman because I think she's a fantastic actress, and I'm sure she will crush it.
All right. Yeah.
There. I'm just gonna play it safe.
When I read Jane Foster anywhere, I was always kind of imagining Rachel McAdams. So I am kind of partial about that, but I don't care. It's fine. It's gonna be okay.
Oh no, it'll be great. It won't be okay. It'll be great. We're gonna fight about it.
Great. Great. Also all the reprints that are coming out.
Yeah, I was telling you this earlier, but Astonishing X-Men, they're reprinting that Omni, and I have the complete collections, and I never upgrade, but I feel like I may have to because it's Joss Whedon, and if I don't, then it's just gonna be ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I have to.
I feel like the Buffy gods will be angry at you.
Yeah, something.
Yeah. And then also this omnibus, Uncanny X-Force, is also getting a reprint. I really love this book. I loved it. And the thing is, I have a special relationship with this because my friend Ryan sent it to me as a gift. So now he has to send me another whale as a gift. This doesn't have any meaning anymore. I
guess now it's just like the Silver Surfer or something. Yeah.
Yeah, like I told him this morning, and he's like, "That's not what I was expecting." Because he was like, "Oh, does this mean you're gonna give it back?" I'm like, "No,
that's not how this works."
Yeah,
it's still a gift.
Like no. So anyway, so those reprints are coming. So I am excited. Are you excited, Reid? Or you don't care?
I don't care. I don't know.
You'll be excited for me. That's what's going to happen.
I'll be excited for her. Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Right. So do you, one question I did want to ask though, are you like planning on writing for the big two ever? Or
I don't think that's something you could plan on.
Yeah. I also don't I don't think I could I don't know if I could ever do that, honestly. I'm really not much of a writer. That's why nonfiction's been really easy for me to do because it's already written. I just gotta find the story in what's already happened, which is a little bit easier and a lot more fun for me. But I don't know if there's ever a side story where Wolverine decides to start a punk band in the 70s. I'm down.
I feel like that would sell.
I feel like I could write that if like him and Jubilee like have a thing and they like have a punk band and like Logan Ramone happens. I could write that. But other than that, I don't think there's not much that I could write probably with confidence. But who knows? I mean, I don't know. My first book. I just finished my first book, so and it's nothing like anything that would be on Big Two. So I have no idea, but I don't. Yeah, that yeah.
So what would you recommend? Like, what advice would you give for others who is trying to get themselves published?
Just make the thing. Kristan's talked a lot about Kyle, and we all know Kyle Starks. Everyone in this conversation, but he gave me the first advice he ever gave me when it came to making comics was like, no one's gonna make the thing until you make the thing. And so I was like, well, I guess that means I got to make the thing, and then you make it. People always joke that like the easiest way to make comics is to just start making comics. And that's it. There's web comics, there's Kickstarter. You can do so much more with Kickstarter than you would ever thought imaginable. And you can do everything on your own. You don't need a publisher. My publisher has been absolutely fantastic. And I love the relationship I have with my editors and my publisher, and they've really helped push me to do a lot of great things. But they didn't tell me to make a comic. They weren't. I mean, my wife told me to make a comic, so that kind of helped. But really, yeah, my biggest advice would just be make what you want to see. Make the comic that you want to read. If there's not a comic about, if you want to read a comic about a werewolf in space, write a comic about werewolves in space. Make the thing that you want to see, and don't stop until you make the thing. And that's it, yeah.
And speaking of making the thing, Michael is asking me, would I ever write a comic? Well, Reid and I have kind of been maybe working on something sort of that hasn't started.
we've had an idea for 3 years.
Probably for 3 years now. So one day that will be a thing. That is
Why is that not a thing yet?
Ask her.
Hey, I'd say you kind of got distracted by publishing a book.
Right.
And you got that second one. One day it'll happen.
It will happen.
And I'll push it on all you guys.
That's right.
I know that you've written already like millions of fan fiction.
That's true. You're not even joking. That's true.
Yeah, like it's like
that's the thing I've done.
Yeah. So the thing is like, do you know like my friend? Like I was talking to my sister. I'm like, I don't think I ever read fan fiction. And my sister's like, what are you talking about? You wrote fan fiction about Sinbad.
Oh, nice.
Wait, which Sinbad?
Just general Sinbad walking down the street.
The explorer Sinbad or the comedian Sinbad?
No, the explorer. God damn it.
I'm out.
Bring him back.
I had to be really dramatic there. I'm sorry.
No, the adventurous Sinbad. I think, what's his name? Zen, whatever. I think that guy's dead now. But
Sinbad the actor would have been way better.
Right. Well, I didn't know about, and that would be also highly appropriate though, because it's like old as shit. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know. But anyway, Adventure of Sinbad. Whatever. Let's see. Oh, apparently on Netflix, you guys. Changes some things. This guy. What's his name? Now I need to look for it. Anyway, yeah, Zen Gasner. Is he still alive? It's old as shit now. But anyway, I used to write fanfiction about that. But anyway, those are not publishable.
I feel like in all your fanfics, you were like dating these guys. Is that accurate? Like you were in all the fanfics?
Say that again?
Were you in all your fanfiction? Like, were you that girl?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah, of course. But I think I looked like, I think I looked like Kate Winslet in a lot of them. Because that's the only other like white chick I knew. Because from Titanic. If you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
makes sense.
There's a lot of that. Sorry, guys. Thank you for being my therapy session.
That's what this is all about. It's supposed to end this way.
This is supposed to end this way. So thank you so much, Reid, for joining us. It was like nothing short of lovely. And Hardcore Anxiety, Kristan already put the link below, in the chat, but we're going to add it to the description. You can go to Microcosm, right? Microcosm.com, I believe.
Microcosmpublishing.com. But yeah, it's there. If you search Microcosm Publishing, you'll find it.
If you look for Hardcore Anxiety, you can go and find that. One of the cool things that the publisher actually does, though, they have a sliding scale paying thing, which I thought was like amazing. Depending on your financial capability, you can pay a little bit cheaper if you want to. But if you can go for it, this is only at $14.99 US, and it's an awesome book. I know nothing about music, but still it spoke to me from the point of view of your personal situations. And I'm like, a lot of this, I'm like, yeah, I mean, I like, we put together this show for, seems like 9 people every day, every week. And we still enjoy it. But then, sometimes you kind of wonder, I'm like, am I enjoying what we're doing and stuff like that? But yeah, a lot of those things just you brought up, and I can't thank you enough for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm happy I was able to join. I try to watch the show as much as possible, so I can be a fangirl now.
That's your obligation, though, right?
No,
I'm like, you should watch the show. You should write this comic.
Yeah, but.
Speaking of those 9 people, though, I have to say thank you to everyone in the chat. You guys have been great. Freddie just said, a fan for life now, Reid. I'll be waiting those 8 years for the second book.
All right. I'll work on it. I'll see if I can write the one about me playing drums in my underwear and a luchador mask. See if I can make that happen.
Even if you don't make that comic happen, just send us a picture. We'll put it on our Instagram, which is at Fangirls.
Oh, there's plenty of pictures out there in the world. I don't want that.
No, yeah. Don't search for them, guys.
Don't search it. You'll be real sad.
Guys, you just like you said
you should tell people this. Yeah, it's not a good idea.
I put it in the book. That's what I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Everybody knows. Everyone knows I love Creed, which is fine. I will get that tattooed on my body. I'll get Creed like right here on my belly. That's where that'll go. You're down with that, right?
Okay. So I'm not down with that. Also, thank you, Carly. Thank you, Philip. Thank you, Michael. I'm just thanking the people. The chat's been really great tonight. So
thanks, Carly's mom.
That. Yeah, thank you, Carly's mom. And also, if you guys have this book, isn't it so soft, Fariha? Did you love the feeling of this?
I loved
there's not often a time where you want to rub your face on a book, but then it's so soft.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to rub your face on it, you better check it out.
Exactly. Go check this out. And also, is it book green or blue?
It's green.
It's seafoam.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just not my eyes. But anyway. Go do that. Our Instagram is at Fangirls Assemble at Instagram. Just go there. Our Twitter is at Fangirlzlive. We have our own channel now as well, which is Fangirlz Assemble. If you look for Fangirlz Assemble Hellblazer, I think it shows up in the thingy-majig now. And the link is also in the About page. You can find the link over there as well. We are doing our best to put up content, but because of our life and work, it's not as regular.
Yeah, my work schedule's been hard. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, it's okay. Like,
we should have something Monday
for these things. just let it
be.
Life,
Yeah,
we got a life, you guys. But tomorrow we will do our best to do the part 2 of our Goodreads journey down the memory lane to see what a horrible people we were, or maybe not. Maybe we were great.
Or maybe great.
Yeah, I don't know. And then on Thursday, Zach and I will be back to do one other episode. I forgot what we talked about that we're going to be doing. And at some point, we're going to be doing Bethany and I will be doing the part 3 of our Hellblazer read through, which, by the way, also got an omnibus announcement this week for Garth Ennis's run, which was amazing.
That's exciting. There's Buff. Thank you, Buffy, for being here. Where does Buffy like to shop for her comic books?
She's so mad. I'm sorry.
That would be InStockTrades.com, which we must shout out again. They're lovely. You're going to get, Tuesday, bottom feeders, 45% off. It's going to be our deal of the week. So Tuesday, 3 p.m. Eastern, the site's going to update. Free is holding it up right now. It's a cute little book. It's by Ezra Clayton Daniels. He did Upgrade Soul. And again, if you guys heard us talk about it, it is still affecting me to this day. I think Reid was there when I was reading that for the first time, and I was like, what am I reading? Like, that's just what I kept saying. What am I reading?
So this is actually about gentrification and body horror collide in a brutal satire from award-winning creator of Upgrade Soul and Your Black Friend. I feel like this is some kind of Get Out-esque things going on, you guys.
I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, and the thing is, Upgrade Soul, I'm going to tell you, Kristan made me read that book. I'm like, Kristan, stop making me read these kind of books. Like, I am just as affected. You're right.
It's crazy. It's one of those things, like, if anyone watching this hasn't read Upgrade Soul and you're hearing us talk about it, I don't want to tell you more about it. You just need to go into it.
No,
that's the best way to do it. Just go into it. Know you're going to be in for a ride. It's going to be crazy, and you're going to think about it for too long.
Yeah. So, as I loved that book, but I didn't also want it to be in my house.
That's fair.
Because I thought that those shit were going to come alive and something's going to
I was reading that at night, too, and I was like, oh. So if you guys it was a little bit of horror, kind of. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but it had creepy elements, for sure.
Right. So before we get out of here, give us your pick of the week.
My pick of the week. Oh no, Reid, what have I been reading? Can I pick this?
Sure.
Can I pick Hardcore Anxiety by Reid Kemp?
Plug. Shameless plug.
That's what I'm gonna
pick. Reid, what's your pick of the week?
My pick is Murder Falcon by Daniel Warren Johnson and Mike Spicer on Hoopla. Everyone read it. Or get it at your, or it's on in stock. It's out now. Get it. It's wonderful.
Oh yeah, it's cheap on in-stock trades.
It's joy. Metal will destroy all evil. It's everything good.
All right, and my pick of the week is Lucifer by Mike Carey, which I also read in Hoopla. Hoopla should really sponsor us.
I know, right?
I read the whole thing. I thought that I'm gonna just borrow the first volume because I wanted to check out before the omnibus comes out. I could not stop reading, you guys. And Lucifer was so delicious. It was just maddeningly good. So yeah, go get the omnibus when it comes out, or if you cannot wait like me, go read it on Hoopla. All right, with that, or get it in InStockTrades.com, you guys. Yeah, that book is at 42% off, all 5 of them. All right, so with that, we will be back next week. Hopefully all 3 of us in the regular time. So yeah, have a good week.
Have a good week, guys.
Bye.